It's okay for you to have standards. I'm here to remind you, especially my young queens out there, it is okay for you to have standards. Not only is it okay for you to have those standards, it's okay for you to communicate those standards. It's okay for you to reinforce those standards. It's okay for you to stand your ground on your standards, right? And standing your ground on your standards and communicating your standards will sometimes mean that you can't let fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, the fear of being alone make you want to stray away from those standards or want to compromise on those standards. No, it's okay for you to have standards and to stand by your standards. Now, this is not an excuse for you to have unrealistic standards. Whatever standards you have, you should want to make sure that you can reciprocate those standards, right? But it's also okay to say, you know what, I'm better than this. And you're not better than people, but better than certain situations. You don't want to judge people, but it's okay to use sound judgment and discernment to say, I don't think this is for me, and I love myself too much, or I see myself in a higher light, in a better light than this, right? And especially being cognizant of not allowing a part of you unhealed or a part of you that hasn't completely healed from a certain trauma to lead your decision making, right? So you have to know that about yourself, and you have to be okay to say, nah, I'm good on this. I'm better than this. And that's okay, right? We're not judging people, but we're using sound judgment to say, nah, this is not for me, and you have to also know what's that being anchored in. Like for me, I'm like, I am a covenant child of God. This is not up to his standards, right? Again, not using judgment or judging people, but also using sound judgment to say, nah, I think God got better for me here, right? And that doesn't mean we're not kind. It doesn't mean we're not humble. I'm kind, humble, generous, all those things. But in order to engage with me on a certain level and have certain privileged spaces of access to me, I have standards. And you should have them too. And you should know those standards and stand your ground on those standards and be okay with maybe even walking alone, walking away from certain situations because you have those standards, okay? Because sometimes fear will want to keep us tied or in situations that, we don't have any business being in because we fear, this is all I got, or I'm gonna see what this is, or I'm gonna explore. It's like, no need to explore. You've already seen what you needed to see, and it may be time to stand your ground and say, nah, this is beneath my standards.